I found out my kid never had the illness I treated for years. So yeah, that's a real sentence I never thought I'd write, but here we are. A few days ago, I took my son Liam to his usual weekly injection appointment, the same routine we've done for 3 years, and the new doctor froze midair with the syringe like she'd just seen a ghost. Meanwhile, Liam was humming some cartoon theme song like nothing in the world could ever be wrong. Then she hit me with, "This child has never had diabetes." At first, I honestly thought she meant the records were missing, not the actual disease. But nope, she starts digging through the computer and there's nothing. No hospital admission, no labs, no glucose tests, no medical notes. Just type 1 diabetes plugged into his chart, and years of weekly insulin prescriptions like someone had stamped it with a giant rubber. Trust me, bro. I told her that made no sense, because Liam was hospitalized for 2 days when this all started. They did labs constantly and told us his pancreas was basically done. I remember sobbing in the damn bathroom, and yet none of it existed in his file. She drew blood right there, full panel, glucose, A1C, everything. If Liam hadn't had insulin for a week, he should have been spiraling. Instead, perfect numbers, completely normal, healthy. No signs he had ever been diabetic. That's when the floor kinda dropped out of reality for me. I tried to cling to the idea of some miracle remission, and she shut that down fast. Type 1 doesn't just go away. His pancreas was clearly working, which meant one thing: he was never sick. Then she asked me who gave Liam his injections. I said the endocrinologist, Dr. Patin. Always him, always at the clinic, because he told us the dosage was too precise for us to handle at home. He acted like he was doing us some huge, compassionate favor by taking that burden off our shoulders. Her face when I said that, yeah, parents normally do injections at home. Clinic-only weekly shots? Absolutely not standard. She made a couple phone calls, very tense ones, and came back looking like she'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Turns out Patin wasn't on vacation. He was on administrative leave because the pharmacy flagged his absurd prescription patterns. We weren't the first red flag. And then she dropped the worst sentence I've ever heard in my life. Whatever your son has been injected with every week, it wasn't medically necessary. Not insulin, not treatment, just something. And suddenly, so many moments clicked into place in the worst way. The times Liam got shaky or nauseous if we were late to an appointment. The time he puked in the car, and I thought his sugar had crashed. All the symptoms we'd been managing with guilt and panic and trust in a doctor who smiled at us while sticking a needle in our kid. She called the police. Detectives showed up and told us Liam wasn't the first child. There were at least 4 other kids with fake chronic conditions. Diabetes, asthma, seizures. All treated only by Petin. All on meds only he administered. All diagnoses falling apart the second someone else looked. Money seemed to be the motive. Insurance fraud, kickbacks, inflating patient load. But that still didn't explain the withdrawals. So they told us about the hidden cabinet they found during a search warrant. The one behind a false panel. Stuffed with insulin vials, sure, but also benzos, antiemetics, and drugs usually reserved for chemo patients. The kind of stuff that creates symptoms when you stop giving it. So yeah, my son wasn't diabetic. He was being chemically manipulated by his doctor for 3 years, and I thanked that man. I brought him cookies at Christmas. I watched Liam play with a plastic dinosaur in the clinic's playroom while the detectives talked, totally unaware that his entire medical reality had just evaporated. He looked so small, so normal, and for the first time, that scared the hell out of me. On the way home, I still took him for ice cream because he'd been promised it. He got chocolate everywhere and giggled like a hyper little gremlin, looking exactly like what he actually was. A perfectly healthy 7-year-old who never needed any of this, and all I could think was, what did I let them do to you? Click the full story to see what happened next.